This is the Arvin mayoral debate on KGET.com.
Hello and welcome. Good to have you with us for this digital-only webcast streaming across our KGET and Telemundo via central platforms. I'm Jose Gaspar.
And I'm Perla Shaheen. KGET and Telemundo are your local election headquarters, and tonight our focus is on the two candidates running for mayor of the city of Arvin for the next 4 years.
For those of you who may not know, Arvin is surrounded primarily by agricultural areas. Its nicknames, after all, is the Garden in the Sun. The city faces a number of issues, including but not limited to public safety, oil, clean water, and of course, the coronavirus. So let's meet the candidates hoping to represent this city for the next 4 years. We begin with incumbent Mayor Jose Gurrola. Gurrola is here with us. He is single and with no children. He did grow up in Arvin as a candidate of Arvin High School and received his bachelor's as well. He has served on the council for a number of years, first elected in 2012. Challenging him for the seat, current council member is Olivia Trujillo. She is also a long life resident of Arvin, married with children as well. She was not born in Arvin, but has lived there for the past 50 years, actually an immigrant from Guadalajara, and has lived in that city that she now considers her hometown. So welcome to both of you.
The candidates have been told of the rules for tonight's debate, and by a toss of coin, Olivia Trujillo will be the first with an opening statement. Olivia, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. My name is Olivia Trujillo. I have been in Arvin since 1962. I know what's going on. I know the conditions. I know the community, and the community knows me. They know what my track record is. They know how hard I've been working. They know that I listen, and that's most important. They know that I'm connected. I am so proud to be from Arvin, and once we get everything going, I would be honored to have your vote on November 3rd so I can represent you in the most transparent way possible. Thank you.
And following Olivia is the incumbent Mayor Jose Gurrola. You have 1 minute for your opening statement, Mr. Gurrola.
Yes, thank you, Jose, Perla, and Councilmember Trujillo. I hope everybody is doing safe and well tonight. My name is Jose Gurrola. I'm a lifelong Arvin resident. Went to Arvin High School, graduated from Bakersfield College, CSUB, and I'm currently a third-year law student at the Kern County College of Law down the street. I ran for mayor 4 years ago to fight for the people of Arvin, and it has been an honor and a privilege serving the community. I'm proud of the progress that we have made, but I'll be the first one to tell you we have a lot more work to do. And in the face of a global pandemic, an economic crisis, it's affecting everybody. Our families, our businesses, our communities, they're struggling, and they need our support. I'm running for re-election to humbly ask the people, the voters of Arvin, for the opportunity to continue serving as their mayor so that together we can continue the fight for a better Arvin. Thank you.
All right, candidates, now it's time for a little Q&A, and we're going to start with public safety. As you know, the city of Arvin has no police chief right now. As a matter of fact, the last police chief you had, Scott Kimball, resigned in disgrace. And as I understand it, he was hired by the Arvin City Council. Now, I presume you both knew that Scott Kimball had a checkered past. He was convicted of falsifying documents, therefore had to be let go. But before that, he had a very checkered past in the city of Banning. He also had a checkered past in McFarland. How could you not know about this, about Scott Kimball, and hire this man to be the police chief of Arvin? Can you explain that, Jose Gurrola?
Yes, thank you. When we hired Chief Kimball, he was the chief, or the president of the Kern County Chiefs Association. We had a Kern County Superior Court judge swear him in, and he had respect among his community and his peers. And even the Kern County District Attorney's Office said that us, the City Council, Arvin officials, did not know of the investigation that was currently going on.
But how could you not know his checkered past? The press had written about that several times. You knew that he had a checkered past, or you should have known. That's the key reason here. You should have known, and yet you went ahead and hired Scott Kimball. How could you do that?
When Councilmember Trujillo and the rest of the council and I voted to approve Chief Kimball's contract, what was going on with the district attorney's office and what he was ultimately charged with, we did not have any knowledge of, but we knew that he had respect from his peers, from judges.
No, he did not.
He
He did not have respect from his peers. I can tell you that right now because I did several stories and spoke with several people. But I'll let you continue. You have, how many time? You have 15 seconds left. Go ahead.
Thank you. We made a decision based off of what the background investigators had told us that Mr. Kimball was able to serve as chief of police. Again, he was a chief, he was a president of the Kern County Chiefs Association, multiple terms, and was sworn in by a Kern County Superior Court judge, and members of the community from McFarland, all up and down Kern County, were at his swearing in. But we're moving forward on hiring a new chief of police, and that's what I'm looking forward to, so we can improve public safety and reduce crime in the city of Arvin.
All right, let's go to Olivia Trujillo. Ms. Trujillo, what do you say about hiring a man like Scott Kimball?
Well, as our current mayor stated, I looked at this big fat binder of accolades that he presented, and I was actually impressed because I had never seen any of this, and immediately I started looking through it. I saw all the things, but investigative stuff, it didn't dawn on me to look at any of that stuff. I was newly elected on the council when he came on, and I truly had no clue.
Okay,
Absolutely
well,
no clue.
what are you going to do to ensure that you avoid making a similar mistake in the future for the next police chief? Olivia, we'll start with you.
Well, first of all, right now, there is a person that's going through a background check, and I'm really excited about that because once that's cleared, before anyone is hired, I will do thorough investigation myself to make sure that there is no shady past on him.
And Jose?
Thank you. Well, I'm not sure how you can be thorough if in the past you had no clue what was going on, and that you were brand new and you looked at it and didn't understand what was going on.
But apparently, Jose, you had no clue as well because you went ahead and hired Scott Kimball. So isn't it contradictory for you to accuse Trujillo that she had no clue what was going on when you, in fact, did the very same thing?
She said she had no clue looking at the background investigation.
But you went ahead and also hired Kimball. You voted for him. So did you have a clue?
The Kern County District Attorney's Office said that we did not have knowledge, and we didn't have knowledge of what was going on with the charge that he was originally charged with, and that he was charged with.
That was in McFarland, correct? But he had a checkered past in Banning. He had a checkered past other places as well. Obviously, you guys did not do your homework. But let's continue and let's go on with another subject. While we're on public safety, what are you going to do about hiring more bilingual officers for Arvin? How are you going to get the money? You know that Arvin has a large Spanish-speaking population, and a lot of the officers do not speak Spanish. We'll start with you this time, Jose.
Thank you. Well, first of all, going back to the process, we're going to stick with the process. We're going to have a community panel. We're going to have a background investigation, and then the chief of police is going to be recommended by the city manager and is going to be approved by the council. But what we can do for more officers that are bilingual, we start by growing homegrown officers, making sure that we invest in the Police Explorer program, that Arvin residents, young people, are part of the program, and they want to go to the academy. We, as a city council, adopted the trainee program, which means we'll pay officers to go to the academy so that they can become officers and then serve as full officers, not just as trainee. We know that we have to grow homegrown officers that are bilingual. We can't, because of state law, mandate English as a requirement, but it can be encouraged. That's something I've supported in the past. But what we all got to do is make sure that we participate in public safety programs, National Night Out, and Neighborhood Watch, and become a closer community. That's how we grow homegrown officers. That's how we get more officers that are bilingual, and that's how we improve public safety in the city of Arvin.
Ms. Trujillo, your response.
Well, first of all, I need to build up the community's morale because it's completely down. There's no respect. There's no trust in the city. for our mayor to say, we're going to pay for this, we're going to pay for that, when clearly he knows about the horrible deficit that Arvin's in, I don't know where he's going to get the money. I, as your mayor, I'm going to build up the businesses so they can, of course, thrive, and in that manner, have the money, revenue for the city, then to be able to hire officers. But at this point, there is no money to be saying, oh, we're going to pay for this or pay for that. That is unreal.
Okay, well, along the lines of that conversation of changing things with the police in Arvin, since George Floyd, there has been a national conversation about making changes and spending taxpayer money on different things other than the police, or at least spending it on different aspects of the police force. And so, do you think that you would make any changes in this regard? We'll start with Mr. Gurula.
Yes, thank you. What went on with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and everybody else, it's a disgrace, and here we have to focus on strengthening and improving even more the bond between the police and the community. I'm proud of our officers, and I'm proud of the events that have been done to improve that connection. And actually, I was the one to ask the City Council, and we approved it, to create a commission to review police policies. Now, we're waiting because we're waiting for a chief of police to be hired on, and the chief of police should be part of that process. We're talking about policies like against police brutality, policies like transparency, policies like making sure we increase community policing. And so there's tons of policies out there. This commission is going to look and recommend it to the City Council, and I look forward to reviewing those policies and approving it. We have to do more to improve public safety, and by doing that, giving officers the tools, the training, and the resources they need to keep the city safe. Along with these policies, it protects officers, it protects the community, and it will improve public safety in the city of Arvin.
And yet you've served on council for a number of years, and you haven't implemented these changes yet. So how has George Floyd and this whole situation with Breonna Taylor and the Black Lives Matter movement changed your perspective on changing funding for police?
Well, I think the question that you're asking for on the funding police is whether or not the Arvin Police Department should be defunded, and that's an absolute no. I think not only should we fully hire the officers that we've authorized, but we should add more police officers. But not only that, we have to make sure that we can't out-police ourselves out of the crime issue. And so we have to make sure we come up with community programs, get grants, so that our officers, we're not asking officers to be domestic violence counselors, to be mental health professionals, to be a jack of all trades. They need to focus on going after criminals, and so that's why we need these other programs. Yes, I have been on the City Council, and these issues have been coming up. And I've been working with former Chief Jerry Breckenridge, and we started the National Night Out program. We started focusing on investing on the PAL program and the Explorer program. Those are things that we've done, but again, we're waiting for this new chief to go on board, and I'm looking forward to implementing those policies.
And Ms. Trujillo, what do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, National Night Out is an event. That doesn't guarantee what we're going to be doing for the people in the community. That's just an event. It's a one-time event. I feel that if we have the money, when we have the money, excuse me, because when elected, I will ensure that the community comes together and we will get the money, because there's so many things that we could do. For example, working with Jerry Breckenridge, our city manager, I told him, I said, the bathrooms need to be locked up because there's a lot of drug problems. Well, how are we going to do that? We don't have any money for that. I said, I got volunteers. So I brought volunteers from the community to lock up the bathrooms. Public Works opened it up in the morning, and that took care of the problem. Why? Because I'm part of the solution, not the problem. And so problems we have, solutions we find. That's what I stand for.
All right, let's go into the next subject, which is COVID-19. As both of you know, Arvin has a population that likes to, how can we put this gently, party a lot, socialize a lot. There are large family gatherings. There are quinceañeras going on still. There are bautizos, baptisms going on in the community. Large family gatherings and nobody wearing a mask. You know, Arvin is not alone. You go to Hart Park on a Sunday, Saturday afternoon, you see a lot of families, nobody wearing a mask. Yet, I don't see as yet how you plan on addressing this issue. Mr. Trujillo, let me start off with you about getting the message across to the community that they must take COVID-19 seriously.
I was part of the, with the code enforcement officer, the first one, they went out business to business, door to door, and we passed out 4,000 masks to the businesses. And as we were passing out the masks, we were putting on posters, you know, no mask, no business, because that's the way it is. And I'm proud to say that awareness is first, but we have to be active. We have to be models. We have to model everything. To me, I lead by example, and yes, that's what I've been doing.
Mr. Gurrola, your response.
Thank you. I had my mask on at the start of this. I wear it everywhere. I was the one to ask the City Council to look into implementing a mask ordinance. The City of Arvin led in that effort, and it was a process. We have to educate the community, and when we found out that the numbers they were made public, and we realized that the numbers in Arvin were up, that's when we took action, and we were able to adopt the mask ordinance first with employees, then extend the governor's mask mandate, and we've sent out mailers to the community saying, informing the community of the ordinance that we adopted that says that they have to wear the masks, and our officers and our staff have the ability to enforce it. It's an education process, it's an enforcement process, but I'm out there wearing the masks. We led on that, and glad to have Councilmember support when she attended, but there was one meeting that she missed, and we didn't know about it, and we were unable to extend the mask mandate. And so I tried to work with the rest of the councils. I couldn't get the 4 votes, and we lost precious time there. But the thing is that we are out there pushing people to wear masks, and that's what we're encouraging people to do.
Olivia, we'll give you a chance to respond to that.
That is correct, and I wasn't able to be at that meeting, but he communicated with me the importance of it, and again, that is correct. We've been doing everything that we can. Unfortunately, we don't have money for a code enforcement officer to be watching these quinceañeras, the bodas, the parties that are going on in people's homes, so there's nothing that can be done at this point.
Nothing that can be done. All right. Let's move on to another subject because our time is short. Measure L. As you know, this was the measure that was passed back in 2008 to raise a needed revenue, 1 cent sales tax, that was supposedly going to go to provide, fix up the streets of the city of Arvin and also for public safety. Yet the Arvin Chamber of Commerce, your own Chamber of Commerce says you guys are not doing that. You have failed the city of Arvin. You're spending the money on other things. How do you respond to that? Starting with Olivia Trujillo.
It is unfortunate, but it is a reality. The money has not been spent for street maintenance as it was supposed to have been done. Unfortunately, I didn't have any kind of leadership role in that, but I was one that was saying, if it's going to be for the streets, yes, let's vote for it. Measure L, yes, let's vote for it. And the streets have been abandoned. It's a pothole city, and it's terrible. I'm very upset, but I looked at the report myself, and there's not a penny that's been put on street maintenance at all. It's all up on top, but it has nothing to do with that. Now, I propose that we have, I understand that there was supposed to be a committee that was supposed to be formed to look over this, but it hasn't been put together. I just found out about this, that a committee was supposed to be formed to look to see what the Measure L money is being used for. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. So, yeah, I would be, yeah.
Mr. Gurrola, your response.
Thank you. Well, if Councilmember Trujillo takes a look at Measure L, it's a general tax. It is illegal for the tax to dedicate funding before it is passed, because it was a general tax. All that was needed was 51%. So it can be spent on anything. And I disagree. If you look at the funds, funds went to help improve road maintenance, parks, but most of where it's going to pay for the fire contract. If you look at the flyers for Measure L, it said fire contract among other things. Well, to speak about roads, when I took over as mayor, the last time we updated a road improvement plan was in the year 2002. So we updated in 2017. It says we have tens of millions in deferred road maintenance. Past councils approved development, the developers built the houses and the roads. The city never put money away in the past for maintenance, and that's why we're at where we're at. I went to Sacramento, I work with the politicians up there. We're getting $500,000 extra every year for road funding. I pushed to have Measure M and Measure L in 2018 when Ms. Trujillo was on the ballot. I'm not sure whether or not she supported it or not. That was a tax measure for more road funding, and the Arvin Chamber of Commerce, a member, is the treasurer of the campaign of Ms. Trujillo. So I just want to put it out there that maybe that's why the chamber is saying that the money is misspent.
Okay, well, on to our next issue. 2 years ago, the City Council voted unanimously in support of indoor medical and recreational marijuana cultivation. But like the rest of Kern County, selling it still remains illegal in Arvin. So where do you stand on this issue? And we'll start with Ms. Trujillo.
I am a cancer survivor. I need cannabis sometimes for pain, okay? And I need to come to Bakersfield, to the dispensary sometimes, to get little jelly beans or whatever that I can get for my pain. If we had something like this in Arvin, where it could be watched, where it could be guarded, where it could be legal, we wouldn't have all the street crap that's all the street things that are going on in the street. So, marijuana, I'm 100% for it because of the medicinal use. What's going on in Arvin is huge. It's crack, meth, and that is not okay. That's what I'm looking at to see how we can help these, bring programs to get rid of this. Marijuana, I'm all for it 100%.
Mr. Garola.
Yes, the City Council approved an ordinance. We're the first Valley Kern City, I know California City has something as well, to approve recreational cultivation on the commercial level and then personal as well. The thing is that I'd rather have, if you're giving me a choice between whether to have a proliferation of liquor stores selling alcohol or people that consume cannabis, alcohol is a lot worse, and public safety personnel will tell you about it. I voted against expanding additional alcohol permits in the city. When we're talking about cannabis, let's also talk about hemp. It's a billion-dollar industry that can help improve and bring in revenues for the city to help continue improving our roads, for recreational activities for the youth. And so Arvin can be the leader locally, not just in cannabis, but in hemp. And there's already people looking at it, talking about bringing educational institutions to research cannabis, to research hemp. And it is exciting, and I'm glad that I had the agreement of Councilmember Trujillo. We can work together and continue working forward together in the future.
On that note, let me just follow up with this. As far as I know, there are no marijuana dispensaries in the city of Arvin.
There is one.
One dispensary?
Yes, there is.
Is the city only limited to one dispensary?
Not to my knowledge. I need to work with the small businesses, because right now a lot is going on with the permitting. Something so simple, plan checks and inspections and so many other things, and these businesses are really struggling. So I don't know. I don't know how many are allowed.
Mr. Garola.
Yes, well, actually, I do have knowledge on this. And no, there are no marijuana dispensaries. The ordinance we adopted, it's a non-storefront retail, 420 Kingdom. That is not a dispensary. Read the ordinance. And so that is what we have here, and that is funding and tax revenue that's coming into the city. And with respect to business permitting, we just adopted a small business permitting process to streamline it. We adopted a downtown small business district that's going to improve the restrictions and the limitations on small businesses. And we just got a loan from CDBG, $100,000 for economic development. I look forward to putting that to use to support small business.
Thank you.
Okay, and speaking of the economy, California is now regulating oil industry more than ever. Do you agree with Governor Gavin Newsom's recent decision to regulate oil even further and hopefully in a few years completely get rid of gas-powered cars?
I do agree. I do agree with Governor Newsom. Yes, I do.
Okay, and Jose?
Yes, thank you. I'm part of a co-chair of the committee called Elected Officials to Protect California. We asked Governor Newsom to do three things. One, stop permitting of new oil wells. Two, create a buffer zone of 2,500 feet. I supported the law to do that. We did it in Arvin, 300 feet. We should have done it even more, but we couldn't. The state can. I supported that. And third, we supported a transition away from fossil fuels towards clean, green, renewable energy. I support the governor's mandate But we got to make sure that those, we're going to get subsidies and grant dollars so that Arvin residents can drive the electric vehicles, and it's not just the elite in Sacramento and LA and San Francisco. So we need that support. We need support to create renewable green energy jobs. I've been a leader of that. We've gotten awards for that. And I took on the oil companies to say no drilling where we are living, and saying that we have to make sure we protect the public health, safety, and welfare of our community. And I'm proud to have done that.
We're about 4 minutes away, so we have time for about 1 or 2 final questions. Water. You cannot talk about Arvin without talking about water. You guys, unfortunately, have some very poor water quality out there. Arsenic has been a big issue in the water out there, as have other pesticides and chemicals as well. Yet, the city seems to be in the same position that you cannot clean up the water. We'll start this time with Mayor Jose Gurrola on this issue.
Thank you. Although the water falls under the water district, I've been leading the fight. As a council member, I pushed the water district to work with community agencies to have water filtration systems. And they had water filters in parks, in schools, so that kids and people in our parks were drinking water. When the US EPA promised Arvin funding to clean up water wells next to the Superfund site, and President Trump took over, that funding was threatened. We sent a letter to the EPA saying, you promised us that funding for new water, clean water. We deserve it, we kept it, and now the water district has built new water wells, and the water has less arsenic in it. It's cleaner, but here's the thing. The water district got a loan from the state, multi-million-dollar loan to build new wells. That's great, but here's the thing. The water district had to show collateral that they can pay for it, and they raised the water rates on the residents. I'm fighting for safe and affordable drinking water. We got to make sure we do not pass down the rates. I'm supporting the lawsuit. We'll continue to support the lawsuit the water district has against Dow Chemical and Shell Oil to clean up the TCP in the water. We can't allow Arvin residents to pay for that. The corporations that cause the pollution are going to have to pay to clean up the water.
Okay, we've got to go to Mr. Trujillo for a response as well.
Well, I've been connected to the community. I'm very close to the general manager of our water district. He just told me that Arvin is now in compliance as regards to the arsenic. The TCP 123 has been eliminated, and right now, as I speak, going through water education for Latino leaders, a 6-month fellowship that I was a part of. I have learned that it has nothing to do with a lot of the oil. There's a lot of other things that have been done. Okay, so he's saying right now that they're in compliance, but he can't say go further until after November 1st because they're still waiting for more testing of arsenic in the water.
All right, candidates, believe it or not, you guys have spoken very eloquently throughout tonight, and a half hour has just whizzed by. I wish we had more time. So as of now, we're going to make some closing statements, and Mr. Trujillo, we'll start with you.
You have 1 minute.
Oh, thank you. So, like I said, I have not ever been one. I have never ever been one to complain about the embarrassing situation of our city. I have been part of the solution, and I know as a community we can bring our city's pride back. And I know that once we come together and you vote for me as your next mayor of the city of Arvin, we will see positive, real positive changes, because the embarrassing situation that stands now didn't happen overnight. It's lack of leadership, love, and caring for our community. I'm open door policy. You can find me, see me wherever. My cell phone number is on every card. So thank you very much, and I look forward to serving our Arvin community. Thank you very much.
Mayor Gurrola.
Thank you. Well, that sounded like a lot of complaining for somebody who says that they don't complain about the current situation. But here's the thing. It's been an honor and a privilege to run and give back to my community, to serve as Arvin mayor. I'm proud of the progress we've made. And there's a lot of agreement. I served with Councilmember Trujillo for 2 years. She's going to continue serving whether she wins as mayor or not. So the question is the decision between somebody who's going to fight for the community and who's best to fight for it. And so I know, I'm proud of the progress that we've made. Councilmember Trujillo just said that the arsenic is in compliance. We got more funding to fix our roads. BC and Arvin is going to be a reality. But I know we got a lot more work to do. We got a lot more roads to fix. We got to make sure that the water is affordable because the water rates are high. I'm running again and humbly asking the people of Arvin for another term as their mayor so that together we can continue the fight for a better future. I'd be honored to earn your vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd. Thank you. Good night. Stay safe. And God bless.
Okay, well, thank you both for joining us just now. And for everyone watching online, we will stream this live on TelemundoBakersfield.com in just a few minutes, and we'll be doing the Spanish version of this debate. So thank you both for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for being with us.